Trouble mounting for Union Minister Giriraj Singh for his racist remarks against Sonia Gandhi, with CJM court in Bihar's Muzaffarpur directing the police to file an FIR. Meanwhile, Congress President Sonia Gandhi has also broken silence after Union Minister Giriraj Singh made derogatory remarks against her skin colour in a befitting reply to the racist comments. Sonia Gandhi said she does not want to comment on such narrow mindsets. She also went on to say that such comments are being made to stay relevant. Let's listen in to the Congress President's first reaction since the entire controversy broke out.
देखिए, मैं समझती हूँ कि इस तरह की संकीर्ण मानसिकता के लोगों जवाब देना या टिप्पणी करना बिल्कुल मुनासिब नहीं है। ये मेरा जवाब है। बस कि उनके पास कुछ नहीं बचा अभी तक उनके खेतों और आगे जाने के लिए ये लोग पूछते हैं, सोचते हैं कि हम क्या करें, किस तरीके से हम आगे जाएं।
Well, with the controversy intensifying further, the Delhi Women Commission has now shot off a letter to the Prime Minister asking him to sack Giriraj Singh. Meanwhile, the Congress has upped the ante by taking to the streets across the country against the Union Minister. This morning, party workers protested outside his residence in Delhi, demanding his ouster from the Union Council of Ministers. Similar protests were witnessed in Mumbai and Bangalore. But despite the outrage, the BJP thinks that the issue is over.
देखिए, गिरिराज सिंह जी ने खेद जता दिया है, विषय समाप्त हो गया है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अपनी स्थिति स्पष्ट कर दी है। जो विषय समाप्त हो गया है उसको विषय बनाने की जरूरत हमारे विरोधियों के जरिए नहीं है।
In this country, either there will be Giriraj or there will be Ramraj. And as far as Modi Raj is concerned, Modi Raj has decided that there shall be Giriraj. Some of their own ministers and those who support the BJP make such statements. That's their political strategy, that use both ends to serve your own partisan political interest.
All right, we are joined by by Nagma. She's from the Congress. She's joining us on the story. We also have Rohit Singh, my colleague from Bihar, getting us the very latest. We also have Jyoti Malhotra. She's a writer for the India Today group. She's also joining us. I want to cut across to Jyoti first. You know, Jyoti, how this entire situation has played out. One quick look. The DCW today suddenly wakes up from slumber. There have been a barrage of abuses when it comes down to women. Who can forget what happened in Parliament where Sharad Yadav called Smriti Irani ke hum jante hain tum kaisi mahila ho. Even after all of that, the DCW wakes up today to ask the Prime Minister to sack Giriraj Singh.
Preeti, I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm wondering which is the worst crime, whether it's what Giriraj Singh said about Sonia Gandhi, which we all know about, and if you look at the video clip carefully, Giriraj Singh's video clip, he laughs when he talks, when he uses those words against Sonia Gandhi. So it's a big male thing, you know, that it's so funny that somebody else is white and somebody else is black. Sharad Yadav, you're absolutely right, the remarks that he made against Smriti Irani, and then he also makes this sort of gesture, very crude gesture in Parliament. Yesterday, by the way, let me remind you, Lalu Prasad Yadav, in reacting to Giriraj Singh's comments, said कि उनको चूड़ियां पहनानी चाहिए. Now, is that a bad thing if somebody wears bangles? So I'm wondering which is the worst crime, whether it's sexism, whether it's chauvinism, or whether it's racism. I think Indians are so deeply racist and deeply sexist and chauvinist that the fact that the Delhi Commission for Women or the National Commission for Women has suddenly woken up, well, at least it's a change, I think. And I think that Prime Minister Narendra Modi must say something about this, about these comments. Amit Shah has been reported, has reported to have said that this ban is, but that he must say it publicly to the people of India.
And the very fact that Barkha Shukla, who heads the DCW, has affiliations with the Congress, so what happened 2 weeks back? I want to bring in Nagma at this point of time. You know, Nagma, we can see a lot of people from the Congress. Of course, it's classic Congress strategy where the top leadership doesn't say anything and the battle is fought on the streets where the cadre is concerned. There's nothing wrong in protesting what Giriraj Singh said. But if you are going to protest what Giriraj Singh said in the same breath, do you also protest Mr. Digvijay Singh, your very own, who about 6 months back used the word Tanchmal?
See, I'd like to say, Preeti, that it's not about, one wrong against the other. We are not here to support something like that over here, and one's comment against the other. This is about a woman, and first it is about a woman, and women, which woman? Hardly women have achieved anything in this world today. We should appreciate when women are coming up. We should empower women, and a woman who has achieved much, not only in this country but throughout the world. I mean, we are talking about Sonia ji here, a comment made on her, and if people can make a comment on her, people can make a comment on anyone.
That's where the dichotomy lies, Nagma.
And what I fail to understand, what I fail to understand here is that when Smriti Irani ji could pick up such a big ruckus over what Mr. Sharad Yadav ji said, then why didn't she make a comment yesterday?
That is where the dichotomy lies, Nagma, because you're practically doing Nagma, you're practically doing what you're charging Smriti Irani with. You're practically doing what you're charging Smriti Irani with. If the country should take offense, like you said, with someone like Sonia Gandhi, then the country needs to take offense with any woman out on the streets who's been dishonored or there has been a comment made on her. I'm going to come right back to you, Nagma. Coming right back to you, because what's happened is now an FIR would be lodged against Giriraj Singh, and I want to bring in Rohit Singh, my colleague. I'm coming right back, Nagma, coming right back to you. Just going to get in a little word from Rohit Singh.
You have to allow me to talk, at least let me put my point across. Who's going to get in the very latest. Rohit, can you get us up to speed about a possible FIR that would be lodged against Giriraj Singh? Rohit, can you hear me?
Well, Preeti, a complaint case was filed in the CGM court in Muzaffarpur by Sanjay Kumar. He's a local Congress leader, and in his complaint he has pleaded 3 things. One, that women have been insulted by the Giriraj Singh comments. Secondly, the Congress workers are also hurt by these comments. And thirdly, the diplomatic relations between India and Nigeria has also suffered. These are the 3 grounds on the basis of which he had filed the complaint case. And after hearing that case, the court has now directed the local police station to register an FIR
under what charges, Rohit?
And in all likelihood,
what charges would an FIR be registered under?
The charges still are not clear. That when the FIR will be registered, then will come to know what are the charges. But right now, the court has directed that charges must be that the police station must register a case against Giriraj Singh, and in all likelihood, we are learning that by tonight a case will be registered in the local police station, and there is a threat looming very large that Giriraj Singh might also well be arrested very soon.
All right, Rohit, stay on with me, because, we've opened our caller lines. We're putting our numbers right down. So for our viewers who can get that number and make yourself counted for, air your views on what side do you stand of this political divide, which is now, of course, playing out socially as well. I want to cut across to our first caller. Anurag joins us from the national capital. Go ahead, Anurag. What do you have to say?
Hello, and thank you for taking my call. Ma'am, the thing is, this has been going on for the last 2-3 days.
Right.
Okay. The minister has already expressed regret. What else does these Congress guys expect? 6 of them. Nagma is on your show. She was molested. Did she take any action? Did Congress take any action?
It has, Anurag, I take offense with what you said. It has nothing to do with express regret. There's nothing. Why shouldn't he be sacked? Why shouldn't he be sacked? And in the same breath, I asked Nagma, who was going on earlier. Nagma, I want to come down to you, and I want to get in a comment from you right now. When you said, what makes Sonia Gandhi different from a Smriti Irani, different from a woman out on the streets who's been insulted? Why is Sonia Gandhi superior? It's the same benchmark you judge everybody by.
To begin with, I didn't say that it makes her different from any other woman. To begin with, I say that there are very few women achievers. And if she is one among them who has achieved throughout the world, not only our country, she's made our country proud. And I have always debated, be it any woman, be it any remark, be it across party lines. I have always come and debated and stood up for this cause. So it is not that I am coming for the first time today and talking for Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. But definitely, yes, she's been a party leader, a longest standing party leader. And when Smriti Irani, across party lines, could have stood up for that, she could have stood up for this as well, because today it is someone within her own fraternity.
Okay, stay with me, Nagma. We have our next caller. Jayant from Bhubaneswar is on the phone line with us. Go ahead, Jayant.
Hello.
Yes, Jayant, go ahead.
People like Giriraj Singh has no business in telling all these nonsense things. And the country is asking for the development.
Right.
What these nonsense people are doing?
Appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you joining us once again. For our viewers who are watching this news broadcast, we're giving out numbers out there. Do call us, express your views on what you think over what Giriraj Singh said and how this is playing out in the political domain as well. Before I go back to Nagma, I want to go to Jyoti. She writes for our sister publication India Today. She's on the show with us today. Jyoti, do you not reckon that somewhere down the line the cliches of empowerment has been lost in the political domain?
Preeti, I couldn't agree with you more, but I'd also like to point out here that look at our political parties. Several of them, and in fact several of our main political parties are headed by women. You have Sonia Gandhi, who heads the Congress party. You have Mamata Banerjee, who heads the Trinamool. You have Mayawati, who heads the Bahujan Samaj Party. You have Jayalalitha, who heads the Anna DMK.
Right.
And you have several senior women leaders inside the BJP, like Sushma Swaraj and Smriti Irani, as Nagma pointed out. Now, in fact, I'm wondering whether Sushma Swaraj, when the Nigerian High Commission writes to the Ministry of External Affairs, what is poor Sushma Swaraj going to say?
Right.
So all these big women leaders, but none of them can come to the support of each other. And I think that's a real tragedy.
Right. Stay with me, Jyoti. Krishnan from Bangalore, our next caller, joins us. Go ahead, Krishnan.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. So my view is that I think the Congress is reacting too much to this particular issue, because if you look at it, really nothing has been said against Sonia Gandhi as a woman. The only question that was raised was whether she would have been acceptable if her nationality was different.
No, Krishnan, I don't think, Krishnan, that's the sad part, because that's the mentality of most men in our country. But appreciate you joining us. You're airing your views right there. I want to go across back to Nagma. Nagma, I completely agree with you, and I'm quite sure most women who are watching this broadcast will agree with you when you say that why didn't Smriti Irani... Let me complete my question, Nagma. A lot of women would agree with you that why didn't Smriti Irani raise her voice yesterday when Sonia Gandhi, a woman, was insulted? There were a lot of women in the parliament. I would ask you, why didn't you raise your voice when Smriti Irani was insulted by Sharad Yadav, when he got up and said, "Ki main janta hu aap kaisi mahila hain"? Why didn't you and the other, so many of your colleagues from the Congress
I very much came on a channel and I very much said that Sharad Yadav ji is a very senior most person, and definitely it was very unbecoming of him to have said something like that, and we should understand and be sensitive not to say something like that. But being Smriti Irani, she is not only a woman. She is a woman in the parliament. She has a voice. She has power. She is in the party today, where she is a cabinet minister. Why is she keeping quiet at a time like this?
Let's take our next caller, Prasanna. Stay with me, Nagma. Let's take our next caller. Prasanna from Bangalore joins me. Go ahead, Prasanna.
Just give me a few seconds.
Hello.
Coming right back to you, Nagma. We're going to take as many callers as possible. Go ahead, Prasanna from Bangalore.
Yeah, thing is, Modi says development is the main agenda. And what these people are doing, they talk about women, they talk about rape, they talk about color. Is that the thing they are interested in? They are interested in development agenda. There are some category of people who are doing all mischief to, they are giving bad name to the government as well as the party.
Right. All right. Appreciate you joining us. Prasanna. Before we cut across to Rohit and Nagma, once again going to go to Jyoti, if she's still with me. Yes. Jyoti, it's not about politicians as much, is it? Because look at the kind of callers that we are getting in. Because if you look at it holistically, most of them do believe that Giriraj Singh didn't say anything wrong. Out of the 5 calls we've taken, 3 of them said that the Congress and people are making too much of it.
I agree with you, and I think this sort of demonstrates this deep-seated prejudices that we have in our own country. I think Indians like to feel that they're victimized. So whether you want to call this racism, and remember the comment is not only, it's not about Sonia Gandhi, this particular comment by Giriraj Singh, it's about her skin color.
Right.
And I'd like to ask you, Preeti, and if you can ask all these people in Bollywood who are several of our role models like Shah Rukh Khan, John Abraham, why is it that they advertise and promote skin whitening creams?
Right.
and, you know, this whole sort of fair and lovely business. I think we have all these prejudices, and I think we have to come to terms with the fact that we are a deeply racist country.
Well, you're right there. You know, if I can call it, the unfair fixation that India has isn't just limited to our politicians. It's not just a Sharad Yadav and a Giriraj Singh in isolation. Let's take our next caller. Dr. Saeed, once again from Bangalore, calls us. Go ahead, Dr. Saeed.
Yes, thank you very much. I do appreciate, I think that's an amazing reaction across the country. I think it's good that we're all bringing our voices. This is the only way in which you can put pressure. And you know what is more shocking is the gentleman has not just insulted women, but calling about Nigeria, he's actually named a country.
Right.
That's absolutely ridiculous when a government minister can talk about a country like that, about Nigeria, saying that about women. He's insulted the whole nation.
Appreciate you joining us. Agree. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you joining us. Our phone lines are open. We are giving our numbers right out there. You want to pick up the phone, call us, be counted for, do express your views, and we will take them live right here. We have Nagma from the Congress. We have Jyoti. She writes for our sister concern India Today group. She's with us. And my colleague Rohit Singh from Bihar getting us the very latest. We do think the news just coming in as Rohit is breaking that an FIR could be lodged very soon. Our next caller, Jai Raman, is on the phone line from Chennai. Go ahead, Jai Raman.
See, we have to sack Giriraj Singh. There is no compromise on it because he has spoken bad about the Nigerian country. That's the only reason why I'm asking sacking for Giriraj. But it comes on Rahul and Sonia. It may be an internal politics in the country. So they also have given a lot of bad comments, and both the parties have did the same thing.
Right.
Always. See, when Sharad Yadav said about the South Indians, what was Sonia Gandhi doing? Did she protest for the women?
Got it. Understood. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And that's the question that I want to pose, a larger question right now to Nagma. Nagma, do you think our parliamentarians, especially our women parliamentarians, because they have an added responsibility there because they represent a gender as well, a gender which by and large is repressed in this country. Do you think that people like you, people in position of power, are doing enough?
You know, first of all, what we can do, we should concentrate on doing that. And what I feel is that even to justify what Giriraj Singh has done or not done is correct or wrong is first of all wrong. And the very fact that he's been making one comment after the other which is deplorable. Right. This time he's not only made a comment on Sonia Gandhi ji, but he's made a comment on a country and the women and the color of a certain country. Right. So that I think we also have women who are dark in color, and I don't think that women and color discrimination should be made. If anybody cannot see any wrong into this, then I think there's...
All right, we're running out of time. Once again, Jyoti, very quickly, if you can just sum it up for us. Do you think they're missing the larger picture there by focusing on somebody like Giriraj Singh?
Absolutely missing the larger picture. Absolutely missing it.
Jyoti, quickly, just 10 seconds and then we're wrapping up.
Yes, I think women across political parties, cutting across political parties, have to stand up for each other. And unless they do this and form a united front against these chauvinist and racist comments, I'm afraid we are going to lose huge opportunities as India moves forward.
And maybe we need to leave politics out of it all. Appreciate you ladies for joining us, and Rohit Singh, my colleague, who's getting us the very latest from Bihar. What we are expecting an FIR now to be lodged against Giriraj Singh. We'll keep our viewers updated on that. Thank you for joining us on this special broadcast. The news and updates continue on the other side. Stay with us.